Now, in the fallout of Donald Trump's comments about basically saying, hey, I'm famous and I can't control myself around women. When I see a beautiful woman, I go in and I kiss her and you can grab in the pussy, right? That's essentially what he said. Okay. Now, some Republicans, and I'm going to go to a poll later on in this segment and talk about the rest of the Republican reaction, but one woman, a conservative, a lifelong Republican by the name of Marybeth Glenn, saw this and said, you know what? That doesn't represent me. That's not cool. And she went on an epic, blistering tweet storm about Donald Trump and about the GOP. Now, I want to read some of her tweets. I'm going to read the series of tweets. Now, she says, so let me get this straight. I, a conservative female, right, have spent years defending the Republican Party against claims of sexism. When I saw Republican men getting attacked, I stood up for them. I came to their defense. I fought on their behalf. I fought on behalf of a movement I believed in. I fought on behalf of my principles while other women told me I hated my own sex. Not only charges of sexism, but I defended, for example, Marco Rubio during GOA. I fought in my state to stop the Scott Walker recall. So she's from Wisconsin. Now some Trojan horse nationalist sexual predator invades the GOP, eating it alive, and you cowards sit this one out. Now I want to stop for a second there. Right. So Trojan horse nationalist sexual predator. Have you seen your party lately? Look, maybe you're one of those old school Republicans that were never in favor of this. But something tells me, no, not quite. That I think for all these charges, because she said she stood up against charges of sexism in the party. Well, there's some very obvious cases. For example, Richard Murdoch, there was, hey, if a woman gets raped, that's okay. She's not going to get pregnant because the human body has ways of shutting that thing down. Well, no, that's actually not true. And there are numerous other examples of, right-wingers, some very extreme right-wingers coming out and saying things like, no, women belong in the kitchen, or, oh, she's just angry because she doesn't have a husband, that whole thing. So it's not like it's not like this whole strain of misogyny inside the GOP is that unheard of. In fact, it's very well known, and it gets pointed out. Now, she's actually defended these conservatives against these attacks. No, they're not being sexist. They meant this, they meant that, whatever. But when it comes to Trump, now she's saying, you know what? No more. I'm done. And she says that he invaded the party. Well, no, he is the party, and I'll get into that later. Now, she continues with her tweets. He treats women like dogs, and you go against everything I and other female conservatives said, and you were and back down like cowards. Get this straight. We don't need you to stand up for us. You needed to stand up for us, for you, for your dignity, for your reputation. Well, that sounds, of course, incredibly conservative. No, I don't need you to stand up for me. You need to stand up for yourself against the sexism. Okay. Jeff Sessions says he wouldn't characterize Trump's unauthorized groping of women as assault. Are you kidding me? Others try to rebuke his comments, yet still choose to vote for a sexual predator. Because let's be honest, that's what he is. What he said is wrong, and the way he treats women is wrong. But it's not wrong enough for me to not vote for him. Thanks, cowards. And that's basically characterizing the conservative response to this. It was wrong and everything, but he's our nominee, so we're going to have to vote for him. Well, she's saying, no, you're a coward if you do that. If you don't stand up for yourself, you don't stand up against these, somebody who doesn't characterize me as a conservative, then you're a coward. And I actually agree with that. I think she makes an excellent point. She continues. Various men in the movement are writing it off as normal, confirming every stereotype the left has thrown at them. So I'm done. I'm so done. If you can't stand up for women and unendorse this piece of human garbage, you deserve every charge of sexism thrown at you. Damn, those are some pretty harsh words. Being done with the party. Now she continues. I'm just one woman. You won't even notice my lack of presence at rallies, fair booths, etc. You won't really care that I'm offended. by your silence and your inability to take a stand. But one by one, you'll watch more women like me go, and you'll watch men of actual character follow us out the door. And what you'll be left with are the corrupt masses that foam at the mouth every time you step outside the lines. Men who truly see women as lesser beings, and women without self-respect. And your guiding faith and principles will be attached to them as well. And when it's all said and done, all you'll have left is the party the left always accused you of being. Scum. In the last tweet, she tagged Speaker Ryan, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Ryan again, Reince Priebus, and every other tool refusing to unendorse this monster. That's her tweet. That is powerful. Because that's coming from somebody who says, hey, you know what, sexual assault, that's not okay. How can you stand up for this guy? Republicans. Guys, like, there are decent, like, there are good Republicans. They're not all assholes, obviously. Right? There are good principled conservatives. I know a lot of good conservatives. I know a lot of good Republicans. I know a lot of good libertarians. I know a lot of good people. There are a lot of good people. She's reaching out to them and saying, if you're actually a good person, you can't possibly defend this scumbag that has taken our party. But see, the problem is, and I think that something she misses, is that that's who is left in the party. You see, what she said with everybody basically of conscience essentially walking out of the Republican Party, for the most part, that's already happened. And all that's left are the people who are, look, called deplorables. They're called deplorables for a reason, okay? These are exactly the people that are left. This party voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. He is not an aberration. He crushed the primaries, destroyed everyone. People had a chance to vote for something different. They didn't. They chose to go with Donald Trump. And now people in the general election are also choosing to go with Donald Trump. They do not care. And I'm gonna give you a poll here. This is a morning consult poll that was conducted a day after the tape dropped. Okay. Now this is when everybody was talking the most about this whole thing. Now in it found that 74% of GOP voters polled said the party should continue to support Donald Trump despite his comments. 13%, only 13% of voters said that they should not support Donald Trump. And only 12% of Republicans said Trump should end his campaign, compared to, of course, Democrats that said overwhelmingly 70% of Democrats like, dude, no, you should end your campaign. Put someone else up. Now, ironically, that would actually hurt Hillary Clinton. Because imagine if Donald Trump drops out, Mike Pence is gone, right? Because he's also an extreme monster. And they put in John Kasich. Well, John Kasich would likely crush Hillary Clinton. I'm just saying. But even Democrats are going, no, but this guy's a monster. You can't possibly keep him in here. Now, more than 2/3, it continues, of Republican voters, they said that they feel that most men use lewd language similar to Trump in private. Compared to 31% of Democrats and almost 10% of Republicans said the video actually gave them a positive feeling. If you're getting a positive feeling from this video, I question your morality. I question who you are as a person. Look at that and say, oh yeah, grabbing women's pussies, that's awesome. When they don't want it. And just coming up and coming on them like a bitch. Or moving on them like a bitch. That makes you feel good? That makes you feel good. Yeah, okay, man, I question you. All right. Now, the lewd language thing. Look, there's a difference between talking and actually doing it. See, this guy bragged about doing sexual assault. That's not cool. That's not just talk. There have been a lot of women that have come out and said, yeah, he did exactly what he said, what he did. Okay? It's not like it's just talk. Like you're trying to be like macho man, right? No, and this is not to throw shade on Randy Savage either, by the way. Just trying to be a macho man, like a big, the big alpha male dog on campus, right? No, this is him saying, I actually, I did this. I tried to move on her like a bitch. She was married. And you know what? I'm married too. Dude, what's wrong with you? Like, that's not cool. But the sad thing is that most of these Republican respondents actually think that this is normal. No, it's not all that normal. Yes, I've heard this before. Okay. And yes, I took a stand very strongly against it. But I've heard it from a couple of people, and certainly not in the locker room. Not in any of the locker rooms that I've been into. Now, here's the thing, right? So it's been a few days. Now, this poll was taken one day after this tape dropped. Maybe it took a while to sink in, right? And I'm giving people a lot of credit here. After a couple of days, when the gravity of what he said sinks in, people might be like, ooh, you know what? That does look really fucking bad. But then again, look, I kind of doubt it. Now, there's other narrative that's going around here, too. From some women and some Trump supporters that's saying, look, okay, I understand he said this 11 years ago. It was a long time. It was a long time. Okay, let it go. Let it go. Well, these are the very same people that turn around, on the other hand, and actually blame Hillary Clinton for being cheated on and use that as a way to paint her as unqualified. Oh, she let Bill cheat on her, so she's not qualified to be president. Really? I'm sorry, but how the fuck does that work? Okay? You're essentially blaming a victim of a philandering husband. That's fucking classy, dude. Super classy. Now, look, before you jump on me, there are legitimate reasons to dislike Hillary Clinton. Being cheated on by your husband, not one of them. Not one of them. Now, some of the same people who are so stridently anti-Clinton back in the days, right, back when Bill was in office, were the ones that were saying, hey, look, yeah, Bill's a pimp. Like, he got a Hummer. Either that, or, on the other hand, some of those people are, you know, the ones that were moralizing about Bill Clinton having an affair. Now, people like Newt Gingrich and Rudy Giuliani, who were moralizing, Dennis Hastert, who was moralizing and trying to impeach Bill Clinton, all while having their own fucked up shit on the side. For example, Rudy Giuliani in his divorce, which was a mess. And it was a very, very public, very nasty divorce where he was walking around with his mistress while he was still married. Fucking classy, right? These are the same people that were like trying to impeach Bill Clinton over that. And look, I say this because this is all about politics, really. It's got nothing to do with policy. Now, Trump, he's proven that he's not an ally when it comes to women on policy. For example, he said that he would punish women who had abortions. Punish them. Oh, yeah, they need to be punished. And his choice of Mike Pence, who's an unbelievably right-wing social conservative who actually does have policies and has championed policies that will hurt women. For example, he tried to pass a bill in Indiana that would force a woman to pay for a funeral if she has an abortion. Okay, look, you might be okay with that. Hey, well, you know, obviously you had an abortion, you should bury the remains, right, and have a funeral. Okay, well, are you okay with forcing that for a miscarriage? Are you okay with forcing anyone to do anything by the power of big government? If you're a conservative, the default answer should be, well, no, I don't believe the government should force people, but Mike Pence wanted to force people in Indiana who had an abortion or had a miscarriage to pay for a funeral. That's fucked up, dude. That's even more fucked up for Indiana. Like, Indiana was like, oh, whoa, dude. That's too much for us. Okay. Look, the Republican Party is anti-women. It's in all of their different policies, as well as their spokespeople. For example, you've got Trump supporters like Ann Coulter, who believe that women shouldn't be able to vote. You had Phyllis Schlafly, who was actually very anti-woman. So, look, those are your spokespeople. Those are women spokespeople. Now, I'm not saying that all the Republicans are like that. But those are the most prominent Trump supporters. And that's who they put up. And thanks to Trump, this young woman and a lot of others, they're starting to get it. They're starting to get that the Republican Party doesn't represent them. They don't care about women. They want to repress women. They want to take away your rights and turn back the clock on actual equality. That's what the Republican Party is about. And now this woman finally sees that. Her eyes are open to what the Republican Party has been doing. And look, I'm glad for her. I'm glad that she finally sees what they're actually doing. And ironically, Trump was the one to help open her eyes. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.